What's up, guys? About to head out to another cash game session here in Springfield, Missouri. Trying to break our losing streak. It's been a struggle lately. We've been running bad. We've been making some questionable plays, I feel like. Playing a little bit scared, so we're going to see what we can do to shake that off a little bit. And yeah, pretty excited to get out here and get another session in. Not feeling too down. Took a little break, a couple days, nothing too crazy. Time to get back after it. Going into this one with a lot of determination. Hopefully we can play better. Hopefully we can be on the right side of variance. That would be pretty ideal. We would definitely accept some positive variance. And yeah, time to get after it. Let's get going.
Take a day at least to get there. And we're used to that.
Okay, so the first hand that we're going to go over, I look down at King of Hearts, 10 of Hearts from the big blind, starting this hand off about 270, so we're very early in the session still. There are a whole bunch of limpers, and I go ahead and make it $15 to go. Middle position 2 player, a great guy, somebody I love to give action to, and just an all-around great person to have around and in the game, sunny disposition, goes ahead and shoves in after limping, shoves in for 60 total. I decide to go ahead and make the call here. For only $60, he can have a whole ton of hands. He can have all the under pairs. So basically, I'm down to flip if that's what's going on. And that seems very likely to be what is going to be happening. Ends up, he flips over pocket twos. So it was just like I thought. It was a flip. Flop comes down, king high. So off to a great start. Turn is a 3, river's a 7. So we take this one down, off to a good start, win a little bit of money right off the bat. A little while after that, I've got King Jack offsuit from the cutoff. I'm starting this hand with about 320. The action limps to me. I go ahead and make it 15. The button tank calls after thinking about it for a really long time. It seemed like he was definitely thinking about putting in a raise. The big blind also calls. The flop comes down, Jack 10-9 with 2 diamonds. So not the worst flop for us, but obviously not the best. I go ahead and bet 25 here after the action checks to me. The button shoves all in for 230 total. Big blind folds, and I don't think I have really any choice here either. I go ahead and make the fold. The button tells us that he had pocket queens, so it looks like it was a good fold. Obviously, we don't know if he was lying or telling the truth, but I think it's pretty safe to assume, given the fact that it really looked like he was thinking about raising pre-flop, that he did have a queen, pocket queens there. So we were in a ton of trouble. Glad to go ahead and lay this one down and get out of there without too much damage after flopping top pair like that. A little bit later, we look down at the dreaded ace-king, guys. It's an ace-king hand, so brace yourselves. I've got ace-king offsuit from the small blind, starting this hand off with about 270. The hijack opens to 15, the cutoff calls. I go ahead and make it 60, and only the hijack makes the call. So I think I'm pretty happy with my 3-bet sizing, maybe a little bit big, but I'd rather 3-bet too big than too small. Flop comes down, 8-8 deuce. So this is pretty much the blankest flop you could possibly have. I don't think either one of us are gonna have any 8s. So seems like a pretty clear C-bet spot. Maybe on this absolutely drive a flop, but I go ahead and check and the action checks through. So I don't know. I think I'm okay with it. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. Turn comes down, the 3 of diamonds. So another blank, doesn't change anything. Action ends up checking through again. I think maybe at this point I could have tried to bet here, but he's not going to fold any pair. He's not going to fold anything that's beating me. So I don't think this is terrible. River comes down, the queen of spades, and the action checks through once again. I flip my hand over. I'm obviously thinking that queen could be bad because he could have played ace queen like this. But turns out he doesn't have a queen because I flip my hand over and he mucks, so we go ahead and take this one down. Pretty weird to just check all the way through here, but hey, I guess we'll take it. Good bit later, I look down at pocket kings from under the gun +1, starting this hand off about 450. I go ahead and make it $15 to go. Under the gun and big blind both make the call. So we're off to see a flop. We're pretty good at this flop. Looks like the flop is gonna work out for us. Flop comes down king high with 2 clubs. Action checks to me. I think I could actually check this one, but with 2 clubs out there, I decided to go ahead and put out a bet, even though I have the king of clubs. I bet 15 and the big blind makes the call. Turn comes down, the 10 of diamonds. I go ahead and bet out for 35 this time, and the big blind, who had checked, shoves all in for like 180-ish. Obviously, I've got a snap call here, nothing to be too scared of. The big blind shows us 10-7, so we are in fantastic shape. There's nothing that can come that's gonna save this hand for her. So river, I don't even know, and we win this one, so very excited, big hand. We're chipping up. Looks like we might have a chance to break the old losing streak here, guys. Let's keep our fingers crossed. A little while later, I look down at pocket eights from the cutoff. I've got about 650 to start this hand. Action limps to me. I go ahead and make it 15 and get 3 callers. So we're going very multi-way to this flop. Flop comes down 7-6-3 with 2 spades. We do have the 8 of spades, but obviously that's not a huge consideration. The low jack bets 45. I don't think I can ever fold here. I've got an overpair and lots of backdoor draws. So I go ahead and make the call. Turn comes down at 5. So now we have all the possible outs that we could really ever want. The low jack bets out 75. So this is a player that I've seen play fairly scared before. Also, it's a player that I have a little bit of personal history with. He's not a very big fan of yours truly. I'm not really sure what triggered this. But anyway, I decide that it's time to load up a bluff. I think that this can work a decent amount of the time, especially since he weirdly donk leads on this flop. That doesn't really make any sense to me. I'm not really sure what he would be doing with this with. And I have all the equity from all the straight draws. And I'm blocking the straights. So anyway, I go ahead and fire out $200. He tanks for quite a while, stares at me for a long time, talks about the fact that I have a heavy neck pulse going, which I can't believe that he's observant enough to notice that. But anyway, I guess he did. I get a heavy pulse going anytime I'm playing a big pot. It's not dependent on whether I'm bluffing or have a value hand. Like, it's just, if there's a ton of money in the middle, I'm gonna have a heavy pulse going. That's just how it is for me. I don't know if you guys have that go on with you or not, but it's definitely a thing for me. So anyway, folds after tanking forever and talking about my neck pulse. So we're very happy to get through a bluff, I think. I think if he folds, I'm probably ahead. I guess he could maybe have some sort of straight or something like that. He's never folding a set here. I can't possibly imagine, but you never know. So we take this one down. Very happy to get through a kind of sizable bluff. So a good bit later, we look down at the best hand ever created. We've got pocket aces on the button. We're starting this hand off with about $800. So we are up 500 already on this session, feeling freaking great. I go ahead and open to 15 over a couple of limpers, and the cutoff makes the call. So, all right, seems kind of reasonable. I would have liked to get some more money in here, especially since so many hands go multi-way pre-flop, but I know I'm almost never gonna get 3-bet, so oh well. Flop comes down, ace of hearts, queen of diamonds, 9 of hearts. So we just flop top set. Pretty excited about that. I go ahead and lead out for 25 on this flop. I think that's a pretty okay sizing and get called. So we're very happy with that. Turn comes down the 6 of clubs. So basically a complete blank. I go ahead and bet out 45 since I'm not looking to chase off my opponent. Just trying to get as much value as I possibly can. And I get called again. So we're very happy with that. River comes down the 4 of hearts, so that completes the flush. She checks, we go ahead and bet 60. She makes the call again. We show our hand and we're good. She claimed to have a set, so I can't believe that we never got raised if she also had a set, but we'll take this one down. Pretty happy with that. I don't think there's any way she had a set. That seems incredible to me, but we win another sizable pot, so feeling pretty good. Flopping sets, things are looking up. Not too much later, I look down at pocket jacks. So the good hands just keep on coming from middle position, starting this hand up with about 900. Under the gun opens to 15. I go ahead and 3-bet it to 45. The cutoff calls and under the gun calls. So we're going very multi-way to the flop. Flop comes down 9-3 deuce. So all undercards, can't be upset about that. Under the gun checks. I go ahead and bet out 55. The player to my left says, well, I guess you will call my all in. He had about 100 behind, so kind of weird for him to say that, kind of weird for him to say that with other actions still to go. He ends up folding, and under the gun also folds, so we go ahead and take this one down. We're running really well in our 3-bet pots, guys. That is a vital part of winning at poker. So I highly recommend that you win the majority of your 3-bet pots, because that's where the big money is. So next hand, we look down at pocket queens from the cutoff. So premium hands just keep rolling in. We're starting this hand off with about $1,100. So we are feeling freaking great. I go ahead and 3-bet to 45 over an early position open, and the initial raiser makes the call, leaving yourself like $50 behind. The flop comes down 9-8-3 with 2 clubs. Early position player checks. I go ahead and shove all in. I think this is super standard with her only having $50 behind. She calls. Turn comes down a 2, river comes down a 4, and she throws her hand away. We take this one down. We didn't get to see what she had. Wasn't obviously going to make her show. It could have been literally any 2 cards. So we'll go ahead and take down another one. Not very much later at all, we look down at pocket queens again, under the gun this time, starting the hand off with about 1,200. So we are starting to build a mountain in front of us. So the button straddled, action folds to me under the gun, I make it 20, and the button is the only caller. So we're off to see a flop. Flop comes down ace high with 2 spades. We do have the queen of spades, so that's something, but it being ace high is not our favorite. I go ahead and lead out for 35. And the button calls. So it's pretty interesting. The button is the super nice player from earlier that I mentioned. Could have not quite any 2 cards, but almost any 2 cards. When he calls on this flop, I definitely expect the flush draw to be, the spade flush draw to be a large part of his range, but I'm kind of blocking that. So I think I can go ahead and try and charge that as much as possible. Turn comes down the 3 of clubs. The button checks, and I go ahead and bet out 45. I'm pretty disappointed in this sizing. I should have definitely made it more expensive if I'm really trying to target the flush draw, but I don't. So anyway, he makes the call. Off to see a river. River comes down the 9 of spades. So not a good card for the way we are planning to play this hand. I go ahead and check, and the action checks through. So we think we've got a chance here until he rolls over ace jack. So he did outflop us there. If we're going to lose money in this game, this is the guy I would like to lose it to. So a little setback, that's all right. Still doing really well in this session. So a little while later, we look down at pocket kings. The run of insane hands just keeps right on going. I'm starting this hand off with about 1,100. I'm in middle position. So a little bit of weirdness. There's a king exposed during the deal. So the hands are being dealt out. Somebody accidentally flips one, dealer accidentally flips one over, or somebody accidentally flips one over, and it's a king. So I don't like that. Action limps to me, so I don't think we have any choice. Even knowing that there's a king exposed, it's time to load it up. So I make it 20 to go, and only the under the gun player, the player that doesn't like me very much that we mentioned earlier, that I bluffed in that one hand, makes the call. Flop comes down ace high with 2 clubs, so not our favorite flop, obviously. Under the gun goes ahead and leads out for 25. I don't think I can fold here. He just called my pre-flop bet, but I think there's 0 hands in his 3-bet range almost, maybe aces, maybe kings, which we know he doesn't have kings, so pretty odd. I think it's a pretty straightforward call for us here. Turn comes down the 7 of diamonds. Now there's 2 flush draws out there. He bets 25 again, so for this ridiculously small price, I'm just going to call. If he has an ace, he's getting minuscule value out of us, so it's very whatever. River comes down, another blank. He bets 25 again. Obviously, I'm just going to make the call with this tiny, tiny bet. I flip over my hand, and somehow I'm good. So he didn't have an ace. I don't know what he had. There's no way he was trying to bluff me. The river bricked out the flush draws. If that was a bluff attempt, that was a pretty sorry bluff attempt. So we'll go ahead and take this one down, winning 2 pots against our nemesis, I guess. And pretty happy with that. A little bit later, we play a hand that's not a premium, guys. This is pretty crazy. So we've got 5 diamonds, 4 diamonds, in middle position, starting the hand with about 1,400. So we got a nice little pile in front of us. Pretty excited about that. The button straddles, and there are 2 callers. I go ahead and make it 20 from middle position, and only the button makes the call. Flop comes down 6-4-3 with 2 spades. So a very interesting flop for us. All the draws, we have a pair. I go ahead and bet 30, and the button shoves all in for about 100 total. So given that there's already a decent amount of money in the pot, I already put in 30, so it's only 70 more. I think I can definitely make the call here. So we do go and heads up, turns his hand over, and has 3-2 offsuit. So I'm not really sure what he's doing calling my raises with 3-2, but that's whatever. I'm very excited that I'm so far in the lead right here. Turn comes down a king of clubs, so that's totally fine. And the river comes down a jack of diamonds, so we were just hoping for a paint card. We get it. We go ahead and take this one down. Very nice pot to win. Shocked to be so far ahead with what we had when we put the majority of the money in. Only the slight majority though. So we'll definitely take this one down. Very excited. Things just keep going our way in this session. So this hand is a very interesting one. It's against the player that we've been playing quite a few hands with, the guy that doesn't really like me, which is fine. So I look down at ace queen of diamonds from the button, starting this hand off with about 1,600. So we've got a mountain and we're feeling good about it. Action limps to me in the button, so I go ahead and make it 20. My opponent, that isn't necessarily a big fan of me, goes ahead and makes the call from the cutoff, and the big blind also makes the call. Flop comes down ace king 4 with 2 clubs. So pretty okay flop for me. It seems like you would expect people that have ace king to 3-bet a decent amount of the time. Action ends up checking to me. I go ahead and bet 75, and the player who does not like me, the cutoff, shoves all in for 325 total. Now, this is where things get even weirder. He starts acting like a crazy person. He stands up, he's acting super strong, like stands up in his like next to his seat, is holding his cards like up in the air. So I'm halfway thinking he's gonna show me his hand before I act. It was very, very weird. He won't stop talking, holding his cards up off the table. It's really weird. I'm thinking about it because it's a pretty big spot. Like, that's a pretty large amount for him to shove all in for. I can't really figure out what I should do here. He's just acting way too like obnoxious and like obnoxiously strong. I don't really know what to do. I end up going ahead and making the call after he calls the clock on me, which is pretty crazy. I did call the clock on him once very long ago, but he had been taking absurdly long with an absurdly simple situation, which I have no problem with people calling the clock on me like at all. You can call the clock on me at any time. It's not going to bother me. I should be making all my decisions in way less than a minute anyway. There's really nothing that should be being thought about for that long. Anyway, I make the call. He does not show us his hand. Turn comes down to jack. River comes down a 10. So we river the nuts. He shows us ace king. So he didn't 3-bet ace king pre-flop. Flops like top 2 on us. Flops us almost dead. I guess good job to him for getting me to put the money in like that. It was a very weird situation. Very excited, I was very happy to get that lucky run out. Props to him though. He handled it really well, much better than I would have. I'm not the best loser in the world. I don't really direct my anger or my frustration at like other players, but I'll get very angry with myself or feel very picked on by the poker gods or whatever. But anyway, we take down a large pot and we are just cruising right along. So we've got this mountain of chips in front of us. Last hand we're gonna look at, I've got ace queen again in the hijack this time, starting this hand off with 1900, guys. 1900. Whew. Middle position opens to 15. I go ahead and 3-bet to 45, and middle position player makes the call. Flop comes down a Yahtzee flop for us, guys. Flop is ace queen 2. So we flop top 2 pair. Middle position player checks. I go ahead and bet out 55, and he makes the call. I wanted to go a little bit bigger here, and I think 55 is okay. Maybe I could go like 65, but I should have a throttle hold on this flop, and I need to be making sure I charge the flush draws as much as I can. Turn comes down the 4 of hearts, so immediately completes the front door flush draw. Middle position checks again. I go ahead and check this one back. I don't know if this is a good move here. I obviously do not have a heart, but I can't remember what it was about. It was something he did or something he said or something about it made me very suspicious that he could have been drawing to the flush. He seemed slightly reluctant to call my pre-flop 3-bet and then did not seem reluctant at all to call my continuation bet on the flop. So anyway, I check back. River comes down the 9 of spades. He leads out for 125. So I do not stick with my read here, guys. I go ahead and make the call. I don't feel like I can justify folding with such a strong holding. I mean, I've got top 2. Seems like a spot that I pretty much have to call. Unfortunately, he flips over ace 10 of hearts. So our pre-flop, flop, and turn reads were all spot on. I just didn't trust myself enough on the river to make the fold. Although that seems like way too tight of a fold, but I definitely was reluctantly putting in the 125. So anyway, guys, very sick session. Sucks to lose the last hand like that, but we're about to rack them up. We have a mountain. This is my biggest ever winning session in a cash game in a single day. We are pumped. We needed this. It's been a tough road lately. We will take it. Well, guys, we are wrapping up. It has been an insane session. We were in for $300, cashing out for $1,790, only $10 short of a $1,500 profit. We are feeling amazing. It takes them forever to count out the money. It's a lot of $20 bills, and they are being pretty careful to make sure they don't miscount. We will certainly take this. We are pumped, out of our minds, excited, trying to get home, count our money, feel good about ourselves because we played a pretty decent session, ran really, really well. We will definitely just go ahead and chalk this one up as a win given all the run bad we've been dealing with lately. Well, guys, as you can tell, we had a hell of a session. Couldn't even record on the way home, couldn't focus, was just too hyped up, winning a whole bunch of money, felt really, really good. It's my personal best day in a cash game in my entire life. I've had some tournament scores online that were bigger than that, but never anything like that in real life. Never had this many chips in front of me in a cash game before, so feeling fantastic about booking a big winning session. We really needed it after all this run bad. So excited. Really thankful to just like run insanely hot. I don't think there's a whole lot more to it. I don't think I made any really amazing plays or anything like that. I just hit an insane rush of cards. I haven't had a session like that before, at least not in modern memory, not in a cash game. So very excited about that. Really happy to take it down. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Please don't forget to check below and see if you're subscribed. About 80% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if we can bump that number around a little bit, that'd be great. Thanks again. Catch you guys next time. Whole bunch of videos coming up. Have a good one.